And welcome. I am Nichelle Miller, your lead facilitator, and I'm so excited to be here with you today. If it's your first time, welcome to the All Girls Matter Self-Esteem Academy. And if you're returning with us, welcome back. Today's topic is all about goal setting, and I am so excited to share this information with you. As we get into today's work, just a reminder that today's programming is targeted for girls ages 9 to 17. However, we know that women will benefit from this as well because we all have goals. So before we get started, make sure you have your goal getter guide. It would have been emailed out to you with today's video. If you just found this video online and you would like to have the goal getter guide, just send us an email. We'll have the information down below and we'll get this over to you so that you can work on your goals as well. So again, welcome. I'm so glad that you're here. This is such an important topic, no matter what you're doing in life, whether it's your school, your work, your academic, extra activities, your sports. Goals are all going to come into play, and this is a great time to get things started. It's a brand new school year, brand new, quarter getting started, and so it's a great time to really focus on what's next for us. So let's get into it. Got your guide? I do. Let's talk about what a goal is or why it's even important. So in a nutshell, a goal is creating the life you want. It's a path. It's a path creating the life you want, or a roadmap. So it's your Siri to kind of guide you along on everything that you're doing. So in your workbook, you might want to note that it's a path to create the life you want. There, I gave you an answer. All right. So we've heard of goals before. We've heard of different things. We've maybe even tried setting some goals. But one thing that comes to mind is, why don't we achieve our goals? If everybody writes their goals down and everybody knows this process, why don't we achieve our goals? Because if we're doing the steps, we should achieve it, right? We would think so. But one of the biggest factors that comes into play with goal setting and goal achievement even is lack of confidence. Can you believe that? Lack of confidence. I bet you've never heard that before when you're setting your goals. So the way that we feel about ourselves, which is part of our self-esteem, the way that we feel as we approach things, our mindset overall, and even our self-talk or the way that we speak to ourselves, all impacts our goals. Something to think about, right? So your lack of confidence will shut you down, even if you know how to do something. How many times have you watched a sporting event? I can think of basketball, and somebody, that's really great at free throws, and maybe they're coming back from an injury, or maybe they've had a couple of bad games and they're just off. And you wonder, like, what happened to them? They're really good. Their confidence might be impacted, right? So when we're confident, we have energy, we have courage, we have endurance, we have an attitude of go get. We can do anything. You can't tell me I can't do anything when I'm feeling confident about myself. But what about when we don't have confidence? Where does it even come from? A lot of us start by looking for outside validation, which is okay. So maybe you wait for someone to tell you you're good at something, or maybe you wait for someone to tell you that they like your outfit, or that you're talented, or you're smart, or pretty, or fun. But what if nobody's there to do that for you that day? What if it's an urgent moment? What if you're at school? What if you're taking a test and you're feeling a little, about what you're working on? Nobody's going to be there to say, hey, you've got this. You're good at this. You can do it. It's all going to come from in here. It's all going to come from you. So while outside validation is cool, I mean, we all like to receive compliments and encouragement. Many, many times we have to start with encouraging ourselves, because that will be all that we have when a situation comes down to it, or when push comes to shove, or rubber hits the road, as they say. So I want you to think about a couple of things first. So think about something you're not good at and how you feel about it. Like, for me, I don't love laundry all the time. I'm good at it. I just don't love it. So it's not that I'm not confident about it. I just feel kind of like, when it's time to do it. Or even a really challenging math problem, I get a little like, uh-oh, do I need my calculator? Can I do this? So think about something you're not confident at and how you feel about it. What's your attitude about it? What story do you tell yourself? Because it all comes down to the story. So think about that story that you tell yourself. And I want you to just kind of hold on to that for a second. And then think about something that you are good at. And how do you feel about that? And what story do you tell yourself? For example, if you're a tumbler and you have a back handspring and you're working on your back tuck, and you can do a back handspring all day long, then how do you feel about it? If somebody's like, hey, can you throw your back handspring? You feel pretty good. Or, hey, can you solve this math problem for me? And you're just a math whiz. You feel really good, right? So I want you to think about, and you grab your workbook as well. So what does confidence look like to you? What does a confident person look like? Typically when I think of somebody confident, their heads held high, they're smiling, their shoulders are back. Whereas someone that's not confident is kind of like, or they kind of, stay to themselves. They're not very outgoing. What does confidence look like to you? And I just want you to take a second and write that down. And then I want you to think about you overall on a scale of 1 to 10, with 1 being low and 10 being very high. So 1 is low, 10 is high. How do you rate your confidence overall? So if you think about all the things that you do, would you say that you're a very confident person, a 10? Would you say that you're not a confident person at all? Maybe a 1, 2? Are you kind of in the middle? Are you really strong at some things and not other things? Just overall average. If you had to rate yourself 1 to 10, what score would you give yourself? Go ahead and just write that down. And then I want you to think about this. If you were more confident, how do you feel, or what do you think that would do for you and your goals and for interacting with people and just anything that you're doing? I think personally, the more confident you are, the better, like the higher up you're going on your goal scale and your outgoing scale and your self-esteem scale, all those things. So that's where it's going to impact our goals, because the better we feel about something, and especially the better we feel about ourselves and our skills and our abilities, the more confident we are, the more we're likely to go get or go after our goals. Sometimes with confidence, it's not there. I get it. It's not always there. Sometimes we have to, as the folks say, fake it till you make it, right? And that's okay. But what we do is we fake it until we actually have it. And we'll get into that in a little bit. So again, what does confidence look like to you? Take a second, jot that down, how you would rate your confidence. And then I want you to take this away in your mindset. I want you to believe in you, because believing in you will help you achieve anything that you accomplish. Okay? So confidence is a practice, and we're going to do some practicing with that. But before we even get into being confident, we have to, kind of look at ourselves, and we have to think about what we're working with. What's our inventory? What are we bringing to the table? So I want you to think about, what do you like about yourself? And it could be, a couple things. I'd like you to try to write 10. So I would like you to try to jot down 10 things you like about yourself. Just 10. And I think these are usually harder for us than the next thing I'm going to ask you to do. So I want you to take a second, write down what you like about yourself. And then I want you to think about, what don't you like about yourself? Now, this will probably come easier to you. Okay, so 10 things you like about yourself, maybe 5, 10 that you don't like about yourself. And I want you to write those down, and we have space in your workbook for that. Then I want you to think about what's important to you. So is it important to you that you spend time with your family? Is it important to you that you have time set aside to study? Is it important to you that you have time for spiritual time? What's important to you? It's so important to you that it's non-negotiable. For many people, it's self-care time. They have to have time to take care of themselves. They have to have time to reset. They have to have time for quiet. Sometimes we just need quiet time to just, there's so much hustle and bustle. For some people, it's my phone. I can't live without my phone. But what's important to you? I want you to think about some things that are important to you. And I really want you to think about things that are non-tangible, meaning not your phone, but things that mean a lot to you. So family, peace, good grades, being successful, whatever that looks like. I want you to think about what's important to you. And this is all going to come together with setting our goals. So don't think I've just lost my mind. Also, I want you to think about, because we talked about this with our confidence, what do you tell yourself when things are hard? When you come across a new skill, a new situation, a new person, what do you tell yourself? Do you start with, I can't do this? Do you start with, this is hard? What do you tell yourself? What story do you tell yourself when something is hard? And I want you to write that down. On the other side of that, what positive things do you say to yourself every day? Do you take time every day to say something positive to yourself, to be your own cheerleader, to hype yourself up? And not in a way that's very arrogant or rude, but a way that's like, you can do this. I'm amazing. I'm awesome. I'm smart. I'm the only me. What do you say to yourself each day that's positive? And this is very important, because if you're not saying positive things to yourself every day, I need you to start right now. So if you have nothing to write down, you better find something, sister, because this is very important. And then last in our inventory, our toolkit, who's your tribe? So we all have a tribe or a group or a village or what we call our people. Who are your people that cheer you on, that give you that outside validation, that tell you you're amazing, you're smart, you're great? Who's your tribe? Write it down, because it's important that you have a tribe. No matter what you're doing in life, yeah, we can be independent, and yeah, we can do things for ourselves, but it's also important that we surround ourselves with people that are positive, that are loving, that are encouraging, that are also goal-getters, because like attracts like, right? So if you're surrounding yourself with negativity, you will then pour out negativity into the world. But if you're surrounding yourself with a tribe that's positive, uplifting, and loving, then that's what you pour out. Now, there's some parts of our tribe that we can't pick. So our family, you get your family, you get what you get, and you don't throw a fit, right? But there's other parts of our tribe that we can pick. So, all right, we're moving along. I know we've got so much to cover, and I don't want this video to be really, really long. So our next step, we're gonna do a little more data gathering. Before we can get into really setting our goals and doing the things that are necessary to achieve them, we have to look at our biggest resource. And the biggest resource that you have is your time. Time is the one thing we all have the same amount of in life. Everybody has 24 hours in a day. It's universal. But how do you spend your time? So if you want to be on high honor roll, and so does your best friend or a girl in your class, how is she on high honor roll and you're not? You have the same 24 hours in a day. What's the difference? The difference comes down to habits and time. So I want you to look at a typical day, and you can either start this today. You can kind of, because hopefully you're watching this early. You can either start with, what time did I wake up? Then what did I do? Then what did I do? I want you to write down a whole day of everything you do. And it's going to seem goofy and it's going to feel weird, but every little thing. So like 8 o'clock, woke up, 8:15, ate breakfast, 8:30, washed dishes, 8:45, took a nap. Whatever your day looks like, I want you to write the whole thing down. And if it's, 9 o'clock, scrolled on Instagram, 12 o'clock, still scrolled on Instagram. I want you to take that time and write it down. Because what you're going to find is that you have a lot of time that you could use towards your goals and towards your habits. Okay? So once you complete that activity, I want you to take a peek and see what stood out to you. Do you spend a lot of time watching TV? Do you spend a lot of time, and you don't, like for me personally, if I pick my phone up and start on Instagram, I lose all track of time and I waste so much time. So what stands out to you? Are you on social media? Are you on TikTok? Are you on Snapchat? Are you out doing stuff and you're like, oh wait, I could have been studying. I want to be on AB honor roll, but I didn't spend any time studying today. So I want you to look at that. Let's look at that and what stands out to you. And then when you look at that, I want you to think about, what do you want to change? Is there anything in there that you would want to change or do differently, or you could do differently so that you can really get into your goals? Maybe. I know for me, I can. Okay. Next thing I want you to think about are some wins. We have to have some history. We have to have some data. We have to know, what are some goals you've achieved previously? And maybe it doesn't feel like a goal to you, but it's something you've achieved. What's something you've accomplished? Maybe you made the cheer team. Maybe you got a new job. Maybe you helped your mom cook dinner and you learned a new recipe. What are some things you've achieved? And this is very, very important, because I need you to be able to remember things you've succeeded at and those times where you feel that you can't do anything. This is all building our confidence. And again, confidence is going to be so important towards our goal setting. Trust me, just trust me. Trust the process. Okay. When you've achieved something that's hard or that's new, how did it make you feel? I mean, for me, I feel so good. So good. For those of you that don't know, I do pageants. I compete in pageants. And when I compete in a pageant and do well, I feel so good because I wasn't raised doing pageants. This is new for me. So things that you've accomplished, and how does it make you feel? It should make you feel really good. Okay? Because I want you to tap into that feeling. Like my shirt says, love yourself. I want you to tap into that feeling and that love for yourself. So when things are hard, you can remember what it feels like to be successful and to win. Okay? All right. And then when you think about goals, I want you to think, is it easier to achieve a goal that's personal to you or that's important to you, or a goal that someone else sets? For example, my mom always wanted me to be on the A honor roll, the high honor roll. And I was always on the AB honor roll. And so being on A honor roll was really her goal. Not that there's anything wrong with it. It should have been my goal, but I was in school and I was young. So if a goal is important to you, do you work towards it differently than if someone else tells you it's your goal? Maybe it's cleaning your room. That's another thing for me. My mom always wanted my room clean. I didn't. So it was a struggle for me. It was really hard because it wasn't important to me. So when you think about your goals, is it easier to work for something that's important to you or that's important to someone else? Now, there are obligations. So we have goals and we have obligations. Obligation is something you have to do. It may not be important to you, but it's pretty important. For example, your chores, your schoolwork, helping your family, things that are required in the house. I mean, those are obligations that may not be a goal per se, but they have to happen. A goal is something that you are really excited about, that you're driving towards, and it's yours. It's something you want to push towards. Okay. So with that, I need you to understand that goals are very personal. Did you catch that? A goal is personal. A goal is not a group goal. I mean, it's not like, hey, y'all, let's do this. I mean, sometimes you and your friends or your family may work on things together, but a goal is very personal. It should be very important to you. It should be very, very important to you. So when I want you to think about, kind of a dream. What is something that if you could do anything in the world, what would it be? Think about it. If you didn't have to worry about money, if you didn't have to worry about time, if you didn't have to worry about somebody saying no, if you didn't have to worry about what other people would think, what's something you would do? Anything. Write it down. And then when you think of that thing, remember our tribe that we talked about, who's somebody that would be like, yes, girl, you can do that. You can do it. Do you have anybody in your village that would say that? It helps. It helps if we do. Is it required? No. But I want you to think about who would tell you that you could do it. And then I want you to think about who would tell you you can't. Do you have anyone in your tribe or your village that would be like, oh, you can't do that. There's no way. You'll never do that. Do you have anybody like that? Because if you do, that's where your confidence and your positive talk to yourself is going to override it. Okay? It's almost like, playing cards and you have the higher card. What you think and what you say matters. So it's going to override it. That's why it's important to know, do you think you can do this thing? So for example, maybe my goal, stay with me, y'all. Maybe my goal is to get Beyonce tickets. I know. I should have had Beyonce tickets by now. Everybody has them. Or Taylor Swift tickets. I don't even know if anybody can get those. That's interesting to watch. But maybe that's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to get these tickets. So my goal is to go see Beyonce. You know what? Let's go see Beyonce and Taylor Swift. Let's go big. All right? So who would tell me that I could do it? I have probably five friends that would be like, oh yeah, girl, let's do it. You can do it. I'm going to help you. I'm all in, or I support you. Okay. Then I've got a couple people that I can think of that would say, oh, you'll never do it. Nope. No. No. May as well buy a CD. Do y'all know what CDs are? They're old school. Before iPods and streaming, you could buy the music and play it. Okay. Anyway, but what matters is, do I think I can do it? What do I think about it? I think I can. I think I can because I'm going to lay out my SMART goal and I'm going to get it done. All right. So moving on. when we're thinking about our goals, we've talked about confidence. We've talked about our positive self-talk, our mindset, because mindset's going to determine whether you can or cannot do anything. Anything. It doesn't even matter what your plan or your goal or your actions or your habits are. If you don't think you can do it, you're done. Just forget it. Okay? But it's all about your mindset. So, kind of looking at our goals and our thoughts, one thing we have to ask ourselves, do I even really want to do this? So, for example, when I was saying about my mom wanting me to be on the A honor roll and I was on the A honor roll, did I really want to do it? Nah, that wasn't my goal. It wasn't. Should have been, but it wasn't. Or keeping my room clean. Was that my goal? Nah. I mean, I did because I didn't want to hear her fussing at me, but that wasn't my goal. It wasn't important to me. It wasn't exciting. Now, do I want to go see Beyonce or Taylor Swift? Oh, yeah, I do. That's important to me. So, yes, I'm all in. I am all in. But when you look at your goal or you look at something you want to do, if it's not something you really want to do, cross it off your list. Don't even waste time. When you write something down and you keep dwelling on it and it's not something you really want, you're clogging up your space. You're clogging up your headspace to do positive things. Unless, don't y'all yell at me, mamas, unless it's an obligation. If it's an obligation like your chores, your hygiene, your schoolwork, you have to do those things. So get excited, just buy in, get excited. It's going to pay off in the end. But for goals, maybe, it's trying out for cheerleading. Do I really want to be a cheerleader? Or is it because my friend's going to go try out for cheerleading? Or because I want to wear the uniform, but I don't really want to practice and cheer and I don't want to do all that stuff. If it's not important to you, cross it off. Don't even waste your time on it. Your energy, girl boss, is going to be on things that are important to you. That's going to drive you. That's going to excite you. Okay. Next, why? Why do you want to achieve this goal? If you don't know why, you're just kind of driving around with no map, right? Remember, your goal is a path to create the life you want. But if you don't know why you want to do it, there's no point. So I need you to sit and think about why. Why do I want to do this? How important to me is it? Is it so important to me that I will put down my phone? Is it so important to me that I will get up early? Is it so important to me that I will tell my friends no because I'm working on my goal? How important is it to you? Why? Why do you want it? Why? Okay, so why do I want to go see Beyonce? Because she's amazing. Yeah. And in my mind, I dance like her, but we won't talk about that right now. Okay, so if you don't know why, again, if you don't know why you want to achieve a goal, cross it off. All right? It's really going to be a waste of your time unless it's an obligation and you have to. You just have to. It's what we have to do. I have to go to work. Do I love it every day? Not every day. But I also like to live in my house and I like to eat and I like to have lights and water, and so I have to do it. So that's a non-negotiable. Obligations are off the table. Okay. Then when you think about the goal, how does it make you feel? Do you get excited? Do you get nervous? Do you get scared? Those are good things. Those are all good things. Don't let those scare you. When you're excited or nervous or happy, that means you really want something and you're going to work towards it. And if you're scared, if your goal scares you, oh, that's even better. That's even better because it's not easy for you. And you're going to step outside of your box, your boundary, and you're going to practice and you're going to do what it takes to make this happen. So those are all good things. So as we go into our last portion of this, you need you to understand your why. Why is this goal important? What's your mindset? What words are you telling yourself? When people are going to say negative stuff to you, what are you going to say to yourself? Maybe you want to buy a car and somebody's like, oh, you don't need a car. If you know why you need a car, I need to get to work. I need to get to school if I'm in college. I need to do things. I need to help, at home. If you know why, when someone says something negative, you're like, oh no, this is why I need to do these things. And you have a list, okay? And then I want you to talk to yourself like you've already done it. So I am going to see Beyonce. I have Beyonce tickets. I can get Beyonce tickets. You have to talk to yourself like you already have it and you're already doing it. Because as you start to talk to yourself daily, that positive stuff, that I love me, I am awesome, I can do it, and you throw your goals in there too, you automatically don't even realize that your body is like, oh yeah. And you start doing the things that you need to do. It all happens. So next page in your workbook is all about affirmations. We talked about that a little bit, and I want you to come up with some of your own. So we've talked about the I ams, the I cans. Now, let's get into goals. I know you've waited all this time. Okay, first of all, let's get smart. You've probably heard about SMART goals. And it's really interesting because studies have shown that they're changing that acronym around a little bit. But for today, we're going to use SMART goals, okay? So what does it mean to be smart? A SMART goal is specific, it's measurable, it's achievable, realistic, and timely. Okay, great, whatever. What does that mean? What's it mean? Specific. What is it? What is it that you want to do? I want to go see Beyonce. Okay, that's kind of specific. Doesn't say where, doesn't say when, doesn't say with who. I mean, you really need to be specific so that you paint a picture in your mind. That is a very specific goal. I want to try out for the cheerleading team on August 30th. That's very specific. That's what I want to do, okay? Measurable. Is there a way that I can tell that I'm making progress? Are there measurements? So if it's cheerleading, for example, do I have a checklist of what I need to do at tryouts? Do I need to be able to tumble? Do I need to be able to stunt? Do I need to have great grades? What do I need? Can I check off that I'm making progress to this? How can I measure that I'm doing anything? It's like taking a road trip. If I get in the car and it takes me an hour to go 2 blocks, that's probably not good, right? That's kind of slow. Now, if I'm walking, it still doesn't take me an hour. Don't you say that? So how can you measure? How can you tell that you're making progress? Okay. Achievable. Can you do it? Does it make sense? For me, I am 5'2". So for me to say my goal is, and I'm not in high school. So for me to say my goal is to play on the high school varsity basketball team. Is that achievable for me? Well, no. 1, I don't play basketball. Sorry, my puppy's barking. 2, I'm not in high school. So that kind of knocks me out. It's not achievable. It's not realistic for me. And then that kind of ties into being realistic. So achievable and realistic kind of go together. So realistic is it even in your wheelhouse? Is it even a possibility? Now, I don't want you to take this as it's not good to dream or to wish or to hope, because those are all very good things and skills and abilities to have. But we also have to be realistic if we're setting it as a goal. There's a difference between a dream and a goal, because a goal gets very specific. A goal is really a dream with a deadline, okay? Is it realistic? And then timely. How will I know, again, when is it done? Do I know when it's done? Is it something that I even have time to do? So if I were to say, okay, my goal is to lose 50 pounds by tomorrow. It's not realistic. It's not timely. I mean, can I measure it? Yeah, I'm not going to make it, but you see what I'm saying? So those things are there. So when you're looking at a goal, I want you to really break down those steps. Are those possible? Okay. All right. So now let's get into action. So I want you to think about, what's your goal? What's your goal? And you don't have to write it in the SMART format. I just want you to think about a goal that you have. And so for my example, my goal is to make a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. Follow me here. Okay. What's my why? Why do I want to make a peanut butter and jelly sandwich? Well, I haven't had lunch yet. And peanut butter is a good source of protein and nutrition. And I really like peanut butter and jelly. So it's important to me. That's why I want to do it. And I haven't had lunch, like I said, and I'm hungry. So it's important. I got to do it, right? Okay. Then we need to look at our inventory. Do I need any supplies? Well, I probably need peanut butter and jelly and bread. Do I have those? Okay. Sometimes we have to start with our inventory. What are my supplies? And then, do I need training on it? Where can I get training? Who's going to cheer me on? Where's my tribe? Where's my cheerleaders? How do I feel about it? Do I feel I can do it? Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I do. Absolutely, I do. Okay. Now let's get into the SMART. How's this goal specific? Well, I will make a peanut butter and jelly sandwich after this video. That's pretty specific. I will make it. I know this. It's happening. It's my goal. All right. Is it measurable? How will I know when I've done it? I'll have a peanut butter and jelly sandwich there. Ta-da! Okay. Is it doable? Is it doable? Do I have the supplies? Yep. Do I have the skills? I do. But if I didn't, I could Google it, or I could YouTube it, or I could ask somebody. So there's ways, right? Is it attainable? Is it doable? Yeah. Is it relevant? Meaning, like, is it realistic? Is it reasonable? Yeah, it is. I need lunch. Okay, I know it's a silly example, but I kind of want you to get into the mindset of thinking about this. And then, is my goal time bound? When will I know that I've done it? What's my cutoff? If I don't do it by this time or this date, is it still a goal? So those are things we need to think about when we're working on our goals. I also want you to realize, okay, we talked about confidence. We talked about that for quite a bit. Confidence and self-esteem go hand in hand. The way you feel about yourself, the way you think about yourself affects everything that you do. Affects everything. It affects what you pour out into the world, and it affects what you receive. If someone's giving you negativity and you feel good about yourself, you're almost like Wonder Woman, kind of repelling it, like shoom, shoom. And then you're going to give positivity back out. You're going to give confidence and self-esteem to others. But I want you to realize you're not perfect. None of us are. And it's okay. It is absolutely okay. And I want you to practice being imperfect. And you're like, what does that mean? I'm supposed to be perfect at everything. And we try to be perfect, but we're not. And I say this to you because I want you to be reasonable and kind to yourself. There are times that we may not achieve our goals. It happens. We can have the best laid plans. We can have the best resources. We can have the best training. Things happen, right? People get sick. People, you kind of lose focus. Something else comes up that's more important. Or sometimes our goals change. As we get older and as we evolve, our goals change, our why changes, our reasonings change, and that's okay. It's okay to abandon a goal. I can abandon my goal of being a varsity basketball player. It was never a goal, but it's okay. And I want you to realize that when you set a goal, I want you to go hard. I want you to go all in with every intention of achieving that goal. But if you don't, if you fall, it's okay. Because what happens is that experience gives you data. It teaches you something about yourself. So the first time you ever tried to do something, you probably didn't do it. Now, some of us can do things on the first time out, and I applaud you people. It's amazing. And there's other things we have to work a little harder at. Maybe riding a bike. If you think back to when you learned to ride a bike, you probably didn't ride it the first time with no training wheels. I know I didn't. And I've got some scraped up knees to show from it. But you practice and you get better. So if I would have said, you know what, I fell off my bike, not doing it, forget this, I'd never be able to ride a bike. But I took that data of, hey, I leaned too far to the left. So the next time I rode it, I could correct and lean more to the right, lean more straight up. And then I was able to be successful. So I want you to remember, it's okay to be imperfect. It's okay. And I want you to still love on yourself. And I want you to still encourage yourself, because you have so much to accomplish in this world and you're going to be able to do it. You just have to set a plan, which is your goal, push towards it, and adjust. And some of our goals are so big that we have to make them into little goals. So if my goal is to be on the AB honor roll, but I have C's, maybe my first goal is to be on the B honor roll. And then maybe to be on, the AB honor roll. And then to be on the A honor roll. Sometimes we have to chunk things down into little pieces. And that's okay. It's one step at a time. It's progress, not perfection. We just have to keep going. So I want to leave you with a quote. And if you've ever seen Finding Nemo, you know this one. So when you're going towards your goal, when you feel frustrated, when you feel discouraged, or you've missed the mark completely, just keep swimming. I know Dory tells us that in Finding Nemo. And it's so valuable because as long as you don't stop, you're winning the race. Don't stop. I hope that you enjoyed today's programming about goals. I hope that you learned something about your confidence and working on your self-esteem, and how building that muscle of being confident and proud of yourself will feed over into everything that you do and any goal that you set. I hope that you celebrate yourself along the way. Any win. If your goal is to work out every day and you've worked out 2 days this week, but no days last week, that's a win. You didn't miss. You just have data to keep moving. So we celebrate our wins, we get our data, and we keep swimming, right? So I hope that you enjoyed today's programming. Realize that we also offer this class in person. It's a little bit different in person, but we do have an in-person option as well as the virtual option. I ask that you please return your homework to us, because we like to see that you watched the lesson. We like to see what you thought about the lesson. And then it also helps us to know what you want to see in the future. So if you have ideas you want to see in the future, email those to us. And I want to remind you to never dull your sparkle, because you can't handle your shine. Thanks for tuning in today. Keep working on those goals, girls.